Hello, hello, hello. This is Humanity Chats with Margie. I am your hostess with the mostest. Welcome, welcome. We get together on Thursdays and we talk about everyday issues that impact humans. Today we have an amazing woman. It seems like I have been repeating the word amazing a lot lately, but this is the absolute truth. We have Ros Weston, who is going to be talking to us about her journey. She has survived breast cancer. She has a lot to share with us about advocacy. Now, before we get into the conversation, I would like to tell you a little bit about Roz because she is a trailblazer. I first met this woman. She was a keynote speaker at a women's conference, and I was so inspired hearing her talk about her work, talk about her journey. She was born in Sumter County, South Carolina, and educated in public schools. She further went to University of South Carolina, Columbia, having received a BA degree in journalism, and then she worked as a radio news reporter. From there, she took a job as a sales representative for Xerox. She spent 20 years at GSP, the airport, Greenville Spartanburg Airport, from 1999 to 2019, serving as the airport's first official spokesperson and vice president of communications. Love, this woman has received several awards and served on several boards. She's been with the South Carolina Aviation Association Board of Directors. She has served as president, and she's the only African American to date who has served as president. Greenville Chamber of Commerce, Greater Greer Chamber, First Steps Advisory Board, Senior Action Board of Directors, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Women's Guild, Euphoria Board of Directors. I could go on and on and on. But you know what? After she retired from GSP, she opened R.A. Weston Communications, a small boutique public relations firm that she operates with her daughter, V. Mackenzie Weston. Founded on the principles of honesty, integrity, and transparency, her company delivers public relations counsel and strategic communication services to a select number of clients throughout the upstate. Are you ready to meet this amazing woman? I mean, I can't stop talking about her, but we have to learn from her from the conversation. So at this time, we're going to go to the green room and we're going to find Miss Weston. I cannot wait for you all to get to hear her story, her testimony. Welcome to everybody who's joined us tonight. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, the podcast, welcome, welcome, and share this with your network. Invite them. Let them come listen because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it is important for us to take care of ourselves and to hear these testimonies of people who have been through this journey. Hold on tight. Ms. Ross is joining us. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It is such an honor to have you with us tonight.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be here. And I was listening to your introduction of me, and I thought, boy, she makes me sound more amazing than I could possibly imagine being. I'm just one woman putting my one foot in front of the other every day, trying to make a difference.
Well, you are an amazing woman. I mean, reading your bio, and that's not even half of what you've done, not even a quarter. Folks, go on margiemarch.com, check out our blog, and read this amazing woman's bio. We would love to learn about your life, your journey, your advice for us. But before we get into that, we usually like to start with 3 fun facts that we're not going to find on the internet about you. So, yes, can you please share those facts with us?
Let's see. I have a beagle named Odie. He is a lemon beagle, so he's yellow and white, not your usual beagle color. He's about 13 years old, and I love him dearly. I don't like Brussels sprouts, And I have been a voiceover talent since my late 20s, a professional voiceover talent.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Um, do you know about Stissa Talent Agency?
No, I don't, but I'd like to know about that talent agency.
I will put you in touch with them. They book all ages, get them gigs all around the world.
I like it.
Yes, they have people going to California. They have people doing national ads. And they're right here in the upstate of South Carolina. And so when we get off this conversation, I will make sure that I send you information. Stissa Talent Agency is S as in Samuel, T as in Tom, I as in Ingram, S as in Samuel, A Talent Agency. People, Google them. They've been on our show. An amazing group, an amazing group. So thank you for sharing that. Now, you all know you've just learned some secrets about Roz right here. And so we all feel like we're your best friends now because we know some of your secrets.
Yes, you do. And I'm so glad I shared that secret because, doing voiceover work is something that I have enjoyed doing. Like I said, since my late 20s, I introduced my son, who's now 31, introduced him to the business when he was about 20. And he does some amazing work as well. So that's really exciting. So thank you so much. So I look forward to that call as a follow-up to this conversation.
Yes, 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 definitely, definitely. Now, we would like to learn more about your story, before we get into your breast cancer diagnosis, about your career and, how you flourished as the trailblazer that you are in the upstate area.
Well, as you said in my bio, I went to the University of South Carolina. I have a degree in journalism broadcast. And at the time, at graduation, I thought I was going to be the next Barbara Walters. I'm probably dating myself here. But I quickly realized that in order to do that, one needed to be willing to go all over the country and take assignments in all sorts of cities. And so I quickly realized that, that perhaps my real strength is on the other side of the camera, being someone's spokesperson. And so I ended up going into the field of public relations. And I have not looked back. It has been an amazing journey. I spent 10 years as the director of communications and chief spokesperson for Green Links, which used to be Greenville Transit Authority here in the upstate. Spent some time at the hospital system. And as you said, spent the last 20 years being the chief spokesperson for the airport. And I was actually the first official spokesperson for the airport. And it was truly an amazing time. A lot of things happened in that 20 years in terms of aviation and how we travel and the things we used to take for granted that we no longer take for granted. So I would encourage any young person who enjoys talking, who's not intimidated by a camera, that certainly public relations, communications is a great field that I would recommend to anyone. And if I could do this ride all over again, I would do exactly the same way.
That's wonderful and inspiring. I think we have to have you back for a segment where you will inspire our future leaders and people looking into going to a public relations career. Now, as you were a busy working woman, how did you discover that you had breast cancer?
So, it's really interesting. I was diagnosed in April of 2015. And I had just had a clean mammogram and got those results back the end of January of 2015. And actually, my children were about to accomplish major milestones. One was graduating from undergrad. The other was graduating from grad school. And I was trying to find, the perfect gift for them. And for me, that ended up being, the gift of travel. So I actually discovered my lump because I had my iPad open and I was seated. And for whatever reason, I leaned forward. And when I leaned forward, the iPad hit in just the right spot. And I felt the lump that I had not felt before. So as far as I'm concerned, that was the first of many miracles. That raggedy old iPad discovered something that a mammogram had clearly missed just 7 weeks earlier. And so from there was a diagnosis of stage 3 invasive ductal carcinoma. I had 2 surgeries, 8 rounds of chemotherapy, 33 rounds of radiation, and I was declared cancer-free, what is commonly referred to as a survivor. And I have a great deal of respect for that word, but it doesn't describe what I feel is my journey. And so I like to refer to myself as a conqueror. So in early January of 2016, I was declared cancer-free, a conqueror, and lived that way until September of 2019, when a very keen-eyed oncologist discovered that there was a number that seemed to be fluctuating up and down, and it led to some additional tests and a diagnosis of metastatic breast cancer, which is stage 4. The prognosis is terminal. And, Marjorie, many people ask me how I can be so upbeat and have a terminal diagnosis. And my response to them is always the same, and that is that we're all terminal. It just so happens that medical science has told me what I'm likely to die of. But that really is the only difference between me and somebody else that's walking around, because we're all terminal. So it has become my calling. For some people, it would be ball up in a corner, take tests, take medicine, wait to die. For me, it's a clarion call, because I found out so much about this disease and how it disproportionately affects Black women. We die at a rate 40% higher than any other ethnic group. And to me, that is just totally unacceptable. And so I have made it my mission to try to encourage conversation around that subject, try to raise money for research. Less than 5% of the millions of dollars that are raised each year for breast cancer research and to bring new drugs to the marketplace actually goes to metastatic. And it's because it doesn't have a happy ending.
Wow, thank you for sharing. Now I'm going back to the beginning of your story where you said it was the iPad that hit the right spot.
Yes.
So that means that although you had the mammogram, it didn't catch the lump. Could you explain that?
It didn't. I had a mammogram. So I actually felt the lump on the evening of March the 23rd. And I had just had my mammogram in mid-January and gotten the results back. So I was about 7 weeks out from what was at that point deemed a clean mammogram. But in fact, there was this lump, and it wasn't there. Either it wasn't there or the mammogram didn't detect it. I kind of believe that perhaps the mammogram didn't detect it. So that just really drives home the importance of self-exams and being aware of your own body. And when there's something that doesn't feel right, go and get it checked out. Because I could have just as easily said, well, I had a clean mammogram, so it's nothing. But it was like I instinctively knew I needed to do something. So I saw my internist the following Tuesday, and she could have just as easily said, or she did say, I think it's just a clogged milk gland, but let's go do another mammogram and let's do an ultrasound just to be sure. And so to me, in the very beginning, I had one miracle after another, but for the miracle of her saying, let's go get it checked out again, I wouldn't have. And then when I actually got it done, the radiologist said the same thing to me. He said, well, I don't know what it is, but it's not cancer. And I said, well, how do you know? And he said, well, it doesn't feel like cancer. Just everything about it just doesn't make me think it's cancer. He said, so we're going to have you come back in 6 months and we'll check again. He said, it's probably, an infected milk gland. And I thought about that. That was on a Thursday. And I thought about it, and I'd made up my mind that the following Monday, well, two medical people have said it's probably an infection. So I'm going to get one of them to write me a prescription so that we can get rid of this infection. So my plan was to call on Monday morning. But before I got out of my staff meeting, or just as I was getting out of my staff meeting, my phone rang, and it was the radiologist. It was his assistant, and she asked me to hold for him, and he got on, and I will never forget what he said. He said, every now and then I get a patient that I just can't shake. And he said, for whatever reason, you are that patient for me. And I have gone back and looked at your scans, looked at previous scans, and I have been fighting with myself all weekend, wondering if I told you to do the right thing. So by waiting, 6 months, and he said, I just decided that I'm the doc and I don't have to wait. I can do whatever I want. And what I want you to do is come in for a biopsy. And to me, that was just another miracle. I mean, if you think about all of the patients that he sees or would have seen on any given day, and we had no relationship. It wasn't like, we were friends or he knew me. The first time he ever saw me was when I was on his table. But I was the patient that he couldn't shake. And so if you're a spiritual person like me, you have to ask yourself, what was it about me that he couldn't shake? And I just believe that it was the higher power at work. And that higher power essentially saved my life.
Well, I keep saying, wow, your story, it seems like uh, the hand of God was in there, because even the way you discovered it, and viewers, listeners, this is a message for you. Listen to your body. And, as Ross said, do those self examinations when you're in the shower. Just make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Yes, do go for your mammograms, but do the self examinations as well. Because we never know. And be your own advocate when you're speaking with your physicians. When something doesn't sit right, let them know. It is their role to investigate further. So thank you for sharing this. And then you said you were cancer free, and in 2019 it came back.
It did. And the statistics are that 3 out of every 10 women who are diagnosed early stage breast cancer and go through the treatments, the surgeries, the chemo, the radiation, whatever the treatment plan calls for, 3 out of 10 of those women will actually advance to metastatic. And there is no rhyme or reason. There isn't a, well, you did this or you didn't do that, or this caused it or that caused it. They don't know why. But that is the reality, that 3 out of 10 will advance to metastatic breast cancer. And that's what happened to me. And I really didn't know a lot about metastatic breast cancer at the time, but I made it my mission to find out as much as I could. And I just believe in a positive attitude. You talked about the power of God, and not to get too preachy, but God has been all in my journey. I could tell you one miracle after another. I can tell you for sure that miracles happen every single day. We just have to be in tune. We have to listen, and we have to respond to those messages that we get, because God speaks to us, or our higher power, whomever you might call that person or that being for you. They speak to you. And it is imperative to listen and then to take action. And you can't be afraid. And, my one prayer has always been, it has never been, why me? I've never said that, in a prayer to God. I've never said, oh, please don't let me have this or that or the other. My prayer has always been, just don't leave me. If you don't leave me, I got this.
Praise God. Praise God. He is with us. And for you to say that you do not ask yourself why you,
No.
That is very brave, because there are a lot of times that when things happen in our lives, we question why. And you also talked about miracles that happen every day.
Every
That's
day.
so true. When we're going through something, we forget about those miracles that are happening in our lives. And so we have to be thankful. Thank you so much for reminding us about that. Now, for people who are not familiar with what metastatic cancer is, could you please explain that to our listeners?
So what metastatic means is, in the case of metastatic breast cancer, let me talk to you in that vein. But what metastatic means and what metastatic breast cancer means is that my cancer returned, and it returned as breast cancer, but it has gone to other parts of my body that are now inoperable, that you can't get to them. Metastatic breast cancer likes to go to bones, it likes to go to liver, it likes to go to your lungs, it likes to go to your brain. And what people don't realize is that if you know anyone at all who has died of breast cancer, then you know someone who has died of metastatic breast cancer, because metastatic breast cancer is the only breast cancer that kills. If the cancer is contained in the breast, it is treatable, it is survivable. But if that breast cancer has spread to other parts of the body, the only option left on the table is treatment. And I am just so grateful that so many treatments have now come into the marketplace. I would think that if some of your listeners and viewers stop and think about it, it's only been within the last couple of years that you've started to see commercials on television about metastatic breast cancer and metastatic breast cancer treatments. You didn't hear that before. And so while there are a lot of drugs on the marketplace now, it pales in comparison to some of the other treatment options that are out there. So that's what metastatic means. Metastatic means it's incurable. Your best hope is that it can be controlled, and controlled for as long as possible. And what tends to happen is that a drug will work for a period of time. No one knows for how long. And then it will stop. The cancer outsmarts it. And what was working doesn't work anymore. And so your only option then is to go to another drug, and then another and another. And that's why it's so important that there are options on the table, because when you run out of drugs and treatment options, you've run out of time. And so what I'd like to see happen in my lifetime is that the prognosis for metastatic breast cancer move from terminal to chronic. And some people may say, well, why would you want it to? Because chronic is manageable. You can live with a chronic disease. You won't live with a terminal diagnosis.
So when you say chronic, that's like high blood pressure, diabetes.
Yes, those things that they can manage. With treatment options, they can make them make those diseases non-detectable, make them stand still, if you will, inside of the body instead of spreading. But what happens with metastatic at this point is that it just simply keeps spreading. It may start, mine, when they discovered it, was actually in my chest area on either side of my windpipe. And it has spread to other areas. And fortunately, there have been treatments, and we've been able to pop it right in the head and make it behave for a period of time. And I'm just hoping that I know that I am going to be one of those people who 15, 20 years from now, I'm still going to be alive, living with metastatic breast cancer. But the reality is that most people, or in the past, a large number of people die within 12, 24, 36 months of being diagnosed. But there are some amazing women out there who have lived and are living for a very long time. And in order for that to continue to happen, then there have to be treatment options on the table.
Powerful, powerful. Oh, Father, we lift up our friend Roz unto you. Let your healing powers just prevail, dear God. So I know that you are an advocate for healthcare.
Yes.
Tell us about your advocacy and how it helps people out there. What can people do? Where can they find information?
So there are resources out there. You just have to look for them. One of the things that I hope to do in early 2022 is develop a website that will allow people who are living through a diagnosis of metastatic breast cancer, to find resources, to find conversations, to find safe places where they can get information and they can bare their souls. Believe it or not, there are support groups of early survivors and this who are uncomfortable with people being in the group who are metastatic for a whole host of reasons, because it's not something that it's like potentially looking in a mirror. And sometimes you don't like to look in the mirror because you don't like what you see back. So, that's one of the things. And once that gets up and running, I will certainly let you know that so you can pass it on to your viewers. But in the meantime, there's a wonderful organization called Metavivor, Metavivor. And they are a national 501c3, and their only mission is to raise money for metastatic breast cancer research. So I just got done with a worldwide campaign called Light Up NBC, and it happened on National Metastatic Breast Cancer Awareness Day. And a lot of people don't know there's such a day. It is October 13th. The colors for metastatic breast cancer are pink, green, and teal. So there's an actual ribbon for metastatic breast cancer survivors. The pink is an indication that the cancer originated in the breast. The green symbolizes life over death, spring over winter, and the teal symbolizes hope and spirituality. And so that's what those colors represent. And so on the 13th, the goal was to light up 115 landmarks around the world in honor of the 115 people. Let me say that again. 115 people die every single day in the United States of America from metastatic breast cancer. That's over 40,000 people a year just in the United States. So I'm happy to report that that effort, actually, there were 225 landmarks that lit up all across the country, all across the world, actually. 4 of those locations were here in the upstate, the BMW Zentrum, the Cancer Survivors Park, and Med Health, the Liberty Bridge, and then down in Columbia, City Hall, and down at Myrtle Beach, the Ferris wheel. And so they lit up for NBC. So any of your listeners can go to metavivor.org and make a donation, or our South Carolina page is still up. And that page is donate.metavivor.org/lightupmbc_SC. So again, it's donate.metavivor.org/lightupmbc_SC. And what that does is it'll take you to a South Carolina page. And I'm happy to tell you that our South Carolina page raised almost $16,000 for metastatic breast cancer research. And I'm truly excited about that. And so that's at least one resource that people can go to. There's another called Living Beyond Breast Cancer, and it's livingbeyondbreastcancer.org. And there you can find a lot of information online. They do a lot of seminars for women and men with all stages of breast cancer. And so I'm an advocate, a Hear My Voice advocate for Light Up NBC. And so it's really important that people go to that website. It's free, and you get valuable information that you really, it's all contained in one spot for you to find it. So those are at least 2 resources and 2 ways that I advocate. And the other one is just, telling my story wherever I can to whomever will listen, family, friends, strangers, whomever. And the message really is about adversity. And because, my adversity happens to be my health. That might be somebody else's adversity, or it might be a problem with a loved one or a child or your job or finances or whatever. Into every life, some rain must fall. Into every life, there will be a storm. The question just becomes how you will respond to that storm. What will you do? Are you prepared? And that is the real question. Are you prepared to deal with the storm? And because storms will come. And so I just challenge all of us and everyone to look deep down inside and find what I call my steel magnolia. that thing that gets me up every single morning and keeps me swinging. And it keeps me swinging through this breast cancer diagnosis. But your steel magnolia can keep you swinging through whatever curveball life throws you. And that's the real message.
Listeners, what is your steel magnolia? Those storms are going to come, or those storms may be already here. And what Roz is telling us is that we should be prepared to have that positive attitude and keep fighting. What a blessing you have been unto us. We've had Ruby, we had guests that, thank you, Vivian. Thanks to everybody who joined us tonight. Tell your network because this is important information. Look at the numbers that Roz gave us. Look at the statistics out there. Look at the US numbers versus the world numbers. What can we do? How can we help? It's okay to get our status checked and to even check it ourselves. But what she is talking about is also what to do when the storm hits you. What
Yes.
if you get that mammogram and you test positive for breast cancer? What if it's metastasized? What do you do? These are the resources out there of how you can live with breast cancer, of how you can prevent it from progressing. And so we are so grateful to you. I know we have gone beyond our time. Thank you, Ninette, for joining us. Yes, Roz is such a blessing. We have gone beyond our time, but it is okay because we have received some powerful nuggets tonight from this optimistic trailblazer. Thank you so much, Roz. But before we let you go, I want to say thank you to our Margie TV fans who tune in every week to listen to us. Thanks to our support group. Thanks to our sponsors, Innovation Group. We are so grateful to everybody who makes this possible. But before we leave, Roz, what final advice do you have for our viewers and listeners? I know that now they have the resources to go to donate.metaviver.org. You can go and donate. I did see that link on Facebook and I went there to donate. And I am proud that my little donation was part of that $16,000 that
Yes.
South Carolina raised. Now go to livingbeyondbreastcancer.org.
Yes.
Livingbeyondbreastcancer.org. Find the resources. We will have Ross come back. We need people like this to talk to us, to motivate us. And this talk may be about breast cancer, but it applies to all facets of our lives. And so, Ross, please share some nuggets with us before we wrap up.
Well, you know what? I think I'm going to share with you. Um, I wrote this down one night, and it was about the 10 things that cancer has taught me. And so I'm going to read them to you really quick. And it can be, you can change the title to 10 things that adversity taught me. It made me stop talking and listen instead to God's voice. It revealed to me that there are indeed angels walking and living among us. It helped me understand the true meaning of faith. It tested me and gave me a testimony. It showed me God's grace and his mercy. It made me fearless. It's made me humble and grateful all at the same time. It's taught me how to truly pray. And most of all, it has taught me how to not give in, give up, or give out. And that's my challenge to you, that no matter what, don't give in, don't give up, don't give out.
Don't give in, don't give up, don't give out. Viewers, listeners, this has been Humanity Chats with Margie. Thank you for joining us. Next up, we have Janet Bracco Hinapa joining us from Canada. She is the founder of Safe Haven Cancer Support Center. Janet has a powerful testimony to share as well, all the way from Canada, and she is doing some activism work in Ghana. And so I invite you to join us at 8 p.m. Eastern to listen to Janet as well. As we discuss breast cancer awareness, let us remember that it is important for us to check on our neighbors We are so grateful, so grateful to Roz for sharing the nuggets and the wise words. I don't even know the words to use. God bless you. God keep you. God protect you until we all meet again. Love you loads, and it's bye for Roz and myself.